Hey, welcome to the Dirt Trail Running Podcast. We are filming from the Ornery Mule Racing Trailhead in Crystal Lake, Illinois. This is the headquarters for the trail races that we organize. We are located on the Prairie Path, and we're across the street from Three Oaks Lake and Park. So please stop by for a visit and a run. In the studio today, we have Steve Streaker, who is our director. We have Luke from Fusion Films. You can find him on Facebook. And my co-host today is Ryan Haywood, sitting in for Crystal the Pistol. Hi, Ryan.
Hello. I was like, can I say that I'm Ryan the Ristle? Is that even a... No, it's
Ryan.
not even a real word. She gets to be Crystal the Pistol. I get to be Ryan the R word.
Yeah, we need to work on that. Ryan the...
It's Ryan the Crying Ryan?
Crying Ryan.
Crying Ryan.
They call me Crying Ryan, and I'm going to cry the entire podcast. That'd be a really sad It would be a sad podcast. I'd be Crying Ryan.
Yeah, Crying Ryan here. Crying from laughing.
So far, Crystal the Pistol wins on that round with a better name than me, that's for sure.
Well, we'll work on that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Crystal's happy to have you sitting in.
I'm happy to be here.
And she's out volunteering at a Yeti trail race with Keith Warren
Only
today.
excuse she could have used.
Yes.
I'm volunteering.
Yes. And
Or
that
running.
race started at noon, so there was no way for her to make it here. But then we have very, very special guests here today. We call this show the Legends of Wisconsin Trail Running. This definitely, we've got the legends here. So we have Kevin Setness.
Right.
Hello.
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 And Kris Clark-Setnes, his wife.
My better half.
Yeah. And thank you guys for coming. Where'd you guys come from today?
Well, we live in Eagle, very close to the Nordic Trail,
Okay.
where the start and finish is for the Kettle Moraine. So
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. When we were out walking around,
that's right. We just bumped into
we
you.
just bumped into you. You heard us talking race directing stuff.
That's right.
And
It looked like you were pretty serious out there about these trails.
yeah. You're like, they look like they might be doing something.
Yeah.
What are they
Yes.
doing on our trails?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we do own our own little 15, 16 acres with our own trails, but we don't quite extend over to the Nordic. But
Oh,
it
that's
feels like it's our
fantastic.
home.
Sure.
Oh, that's great. 15 or 16 acre trails. That's amazing.
Yeah, we interconnect with our neighbors, so it's tremendous. It's been our dream, and we've been there 25 years.
Wow.
So
And that's what drew us to move out there, is we wanted to be close to the Nordic and the John Muir Ice Age trails to run on, rather than drive 2 hours when we lived in Germantown. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you guys are the people that started Kettle Moraine 100. Thank you for coming up with that great idea.
we just thought it'd be a good idea since we live right there in the middle of it, and we had some novel ideas. You know, the PM start. I don't know if you knew that. We started at 4 p.m. the very first year because I thought everybody should finish it in daylight and everybody should be made to run through the night. And the feedback was very positive, but then, we just shifted.
Were
with
other
the
races
times.
at the time? Was everyone still doing? Was everyone doing Saturday mornings
The AM
or
start,
Friday
yeah.
mornings? And
Yeah. So it was something, I don't know, I thought it was novel. And again, feedback was good, but after about 3 or 4 years, we shifted to the AM.
What made you decide to switch to the AM?
I honestly don't remember.
Yeah.
I think it's feedback.
I think we got a lot of feedback that people struggle to wait all day.
Yeah.
Because they really wouldn't sleep waiting, so they would wait all day to start. Some people still really like the PM start, but just seemed as though as time went on, the feedback was what made us shift it.
And when you started this race, like now, cell phones and social media to organize and put, advertising, how did you plan all this out? How did you decide where aid stations would be? You're both very experienced runners, so I can see finding a course easy, but how did you figure that out?
Well, I think my idea was to have a minimalist type approach where we had minimal aid stations and force people to carry, nourishment and fluids, which was a challenge if it ever got really hot. In the first year, it wasn't. We got down to 40 degrees at night, and I think a high was 60.
Yeah.
So that was unusual for early June, but to challenge the runner and just, again, be different. And so we decided to do that, and people appreciated it. Feedback was good. We hit our 108 runners, I think, the first year.
Yeah, that's really seems like a lot.
Yeah, and we made the cover of Ultrarunning magazine, which is kind of a gold mine.
Oh, that
wow.
is great.
Yeah.
No, in 2020, when I tell people I'm going to run 100 miles, like their brain kind of scrambles. Like they kind of just don't understand it, can barely comprehend. You know,
Right.
I mean,
Can't drive that far.
Right.
I get tired driving
Yeah.
that.
Right. So they say, and this is in 2020.
Yeah.
Right.
So I can only imagine when you first started the race, you're like, we're starting a 100-mile race.
Yeah.
Not only people, I always wonder, what did you come up against? Like people just,
Well, there were other hundreds in the country, Vermont, Old Dominion, Western
Sure.
States, obviously, Leadville. There were less than 10, though.
Yeah, there wasn't very many.
There wasn't very many,
Yeah.
and in the Midwest especially. I mean, it took a while. I think Mohican may have been before us. I'm not sure, but there wasn't that many in the central part of the U.S. And we thought, well, there's probably a need here, and let's fulfill that. And we wanted to not interfere with the Ice Age 50 run, which is in mid-May. So we thought about 3 to 4 weeks after that
Yeah.
would be ideal.
And I think that the fact that there were so many people that already were very familiar with the Ice Age trails and the area, and people coming from different areas, and many people kind of saw the Ice Age race as a build-up for the 100-mile, and
Sure.
were very familiar with the idea of being out there. And so we received a lot of support from just those of our trail running friends, and volunteers were primarily just trail running friends out in that area. But I think that's the thing that just blows my thoughts about how much Timo and Jason, and then now you have evolved it, Michelle, is, I remember no dumpsters. We had the garbage in our driveway the end of the race,
Yeah.
after being up for 48 hours trying to figure out how are we going to go through all of this.
Yeah.
And me one night, in the night, all by myself, sitting out. I had a friend that didn't like the idea that I was sitting out in the middle of the night with nobody out there at Scuppernong because it was so small.
Yeah.
And just so cool that you've been able to evolve.
Well, it's not
to
me.
the level.
The trail running community has
Yes.
evolved. And thanks to people like you that that had the vision and built it and stuck with it. We have it a lot easier than you had it.
Yeah, we didn't have cell phone coverage out there. I don't know how we communicated. It was basically by word of mouth.
And like timing, how did you guys, was that all by hand timing? Yeah.
No mats chip timing was, I think, in the United States. I know it was in Europe, but it was pretty much manual.
Yeah.
And the best thing about it was we had a tremendous support group that were extremely loyal to us. And, the core group in Wisconsin, as far as trail running community, is great. So without their support, we could not have done this.
Yeah, if you hit the trails on the weekend, up on the Ice Age Trail, you see people
That's right.
Like you see lots of people,
Exactly.
but you're like, oh, I know. Like maybe if you don't know their name, you know them because it's familiar people.
And they were very encouraging to us to start it. And so, anyways, getting the support was not a problem.
Okay.
Volunteers.
Well, yeah, I don't find it to be a problem either, but
Okay.
I figured, I feel like it's easier for us because we've got social media that
Right.
makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, I marvel at the evolution. And back in the 90s, the sport of ultra running and trail running was approximately a tenth of what it is now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you realize that, but there are 10 times as many events and finishers there as there is back in 2000.
Yeah. Oh, I can feel the
Which is
difference, and we can tell by how quickly races are selling out.
And it's mainly trail running.
Yeah.
The road running, I think, has been flat.
Yes.
But, performances, too, have been equally just astounding. And I sit back and I talk to Kris about it and colleagues and just blown away by it.
Well, you've done a lot for the trail running community besides starting the race. that has to do with trails with the mutts.
Yes, Mountain Ultra Trail.
Yeah. So what is, like
How'd that
for
come
some
about?
people don't know what that is. Yeah. How did that come about?
Well,
What
back
is
in the
that?
mid-'90s, I was encouraged by Dan Brannon, who was head of the American Ultrarunning Association, to come to the annual meetings, which is always right after Thanksgiving. And so I did that to San Francisco because he said, the voice of the athlete carries a lot further than mine, or louder. And I understood that. So a few of us went out there to San Francisco, and in the subsequent years to Orlando, I think it was. And there was a trail running community. There was the ultra running community, and then the mountain people. And through a collaborative effort, and Bill Rowe, who unfortunately passed away last Saturday, was very involved with long distance running in this country. He, along with Dan and myself and Nancy Hobbs of the American Trail Running Association, we kind of brainstormed and thought we better maybe join forces and strengthen ourselves within the USATF organization.
Okay.
Because we really were just peanuts.
Okay.
Our budget was next to nothing. And we thought if we unify, we could probably be stronger. And it is. Their budget now is 20 times what it was back in 2000. And not that we can fully
Is it
support.
different than American Trail Running Association? So MUTS is a different organization.
Well, MUT is the committee or the council within USATF.
Okay.
The American Ultra Running Association, which I was also affiliated with, is a member organization.
Okay.
You could join USATF as a member organization
Okay.
to get insurance, for example.
Yeah, I'm part of American Trail Running Association.
And they're
I
a
know
member
yeah.
organization. Nancy Hobbs,
Yeah, I know Nancy.
who was a great gal to work with. She and I co-chaired MUT for a few years early on.
Okay.
And she was great to work with. And I looked to her. She was quite the leader and still is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whereas I kind of became a polarizing figure, and I decided to step away after a few years because I was making too much noise, I think, within the organization.
Oh, well, I'm sure it was all for the good.
Just for the athletes,
Yeah.
step up for them. So.
Yeah, I mean, your guys' running career, I don't even know. Well, you were just inducted into the Ultra Running Hall of Fame. And so
Correct.
how did they contact you on that?
I got an email,
Okay.
of course. Right?
Did they, what's deciding factors of that
There
happening?
is no factors.
Okay.
It's just a group of aging white men
Okay.
committee that I know. And I had mixed feelings about it. Roy Perong in Wisconsin, he told me to embrace it.
Okay.
He's in the Hall of Fame. And so I have. And I feel very humbled by it. And but one of my feelings is that there's only one inductee per year,
Yeah.
which I think back 25 years ago was fine because the sport was relatively small. But now, since the sport is well over 10 times, in the pipeline of high-end performances, I think the number of inductees, the pipeline is ready to burst. And I think they're going to be expanding the Hall
Do
of
they have a
Fame.
men and women's?
No, there's only 5 American women in it.
Okay.
And I think 12 men. And, the fact that, Ruth Anderson and Helen Klein,
Uh-huh.
they're not in it.
Yeah.
And they've unfortunately passed away. And I feel like, why am I in it, not them? Because they were true pioneers. Ruth back in the 70s was championing the cause of women to be able to run the Boston Marathon
Yeah.
and run ultras. And I remember those days where women did not have equal rights. And I just feel kind of sad about that.
Kris, for you, in your running, did you have a group? We had Trail Sisters, Jen Collins, on, and she talked about how she brings women out on the trail to feel safe and understand what to do. How did you get out onto the trail?
I was a crew person for Kevin the first time he ran the 50-mile Ice Age. And I remember afterwards thinking, I don't really want to do that. But within a short period of time being intrigued, I was already a runner. As one of my male running friends said years ago, you're just kind of middle of the packer. But I was intrigued by the trails, and I remember feeling like I was dancing. through the rocks out there, and I love the nature and the forest. So I decided I would enter, and that was a time that you didn't have to enter so far ahead of time. So I was able to enter. And it was the first, what they call mud bowl at the 50-mile Ice Age.
Okay.
Which means a lot of rain.
Yeah.
Rain and
cold.
mud. In
Back
fact,
to back
my
it was-
shoe, I lost my shoe in the mud en route, and I got to mile 40, and so many people, unfortunately, became hypothermic, which I think I had become. But I couldn't say I quit because I was freezing, and people had changed me.
And you had already done 40 miles. You might as well finish.
Just eat some Oreos, change your clothes, and just get going. So that is really where I think we began to partner more in the trail running, and it just became so much of our lifestyle because we live so close to the trails.
Yeah.
And, train together and.
So you trained together. Did you train with other people or mainly just?
Well, we pretty solo during the week, but then on the Saturday long build-up runs, we would go to the Nordic Trail, and there would be 50 to 75 people there.
Wow,
And
that's
we
a great.
knew just about all of them. So
But to your point about women and the Trail Sisters, I'm quite excited and intrigued. There were not as many women running back then, so my trail running partners at that time were largely men. And I kind of was laughing as she was speaking about sharing the information because it was a very good friend of ours, Tom Bunk, who actually told me as a woman how I need to quickly urinate on the trail so I don't lose any time.
So you learned the art of that.
Yes. Okay, well, thanks, Tom. And just the amazing evolution of how many women now are coming forward and participating is exciting, and race directing, and
Yeah, I know. It's almost 50-50 on kettle and hennepin.
Is it?
It's
Cool.
usually it's definitely higher on the guys, but there is every once in a while I'll check because there's like demographics in the background, and there's more women than men, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
You know, like that's really, really exciting. You started before I did, but even when I started, I was excited if I found anybody within a 100-mile radius that was a woman that was signed up for a race. They were definitely late to come on. So,
the other thing I have to say that I love is watching the fashions of the women.
the outfits.
You know, just all the fun, cute outfits that they're all running in, and the socks, and just like, oh my gosh, we didn't have all of those kinds
it has changed.
Yeah. Throw on a t-shirt and some shorts, and we still ran, well, but it's just kind of fun to see how that's all evolved too, and women embracing that they can go out and enjoy that aspect of it, and men too. I see that. It's exciting.
Yeah. What did you wear? Did you guys have a pack, or did you hold a water bottle in your hand? Between going
And bottle.
We tried to run. We were racing to win, typically.
Yeah.
So we tried to run as light as possible.
Yeah.
Fast, light shoes, and if anything, you carry a water bottle.
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
all about a
Western states-
handheld, actually. I think it's so much easier to get through aid stations.
Yes.
Is that what you?
Yeah, I am a
run with?
handheld person. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a pack on, and when I did Western, I did have to have a pack because you don't see many aid stations those first 30, 40 miles. So you need to carry a fair amount of fluids. But here in the Midwest and Ice Age, we didn't need to.
Pinning little Ziploc baggies inside the shorts.
Okay.
With the goo and the supplements, and just like, oh, this is just as good.
Yeah.
But
Race
to
ready
see
shorts,
what's happening
Yeah,
now.
the race ready shorts were
Yes,
around.
yeah.
They should make those again. Those were
I
genius.
know.
They don't make them anymore?
I don't see them on people very often at races.
Wow.
Do you know about race ready shorts?
Race ready shorts.
Yeah.
They had a lot of mini pockets in the back.
Yeah.
And they were very
Oh,
popular.
okay, yeah. I think when I was doing marathons,
A couple
I
out of San
remember.
Diego.
Yeah.
But you would be running. I remember running behind people in like a marathon, and their whole race ready
Yeah.
pockets
Right.
they'd just be bouncing around.
With
These
the
things
little
just-
gel packs and
gel just be
supplements
popping
and
out,
whatever.
and they'd be looking for them. They couldn't find them or anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't seen them in a while.
Well, we had Jason and Timo on earlier, and they said that you guys would be humble. And Timo wanted me to ask about you both being the 100K U.S. champions.
Yes.
And
On our 10th anniversary.
So this was on your 10th anniversary?
Exactly, to the day, our 10th anniversary in Pittsburgh. It's funny Tim would remember that.
Oh, Tim is
He's a special
such
guy.
a great friend and man, and always touts other people when he really has given so much to this sport, as has his wife, Ann Heaslett. And
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that she would be with him, but he said she was off training for some
Yeah.
event. Yeah. But we were in Pittsburgh. It was a 50-mile.
That was a 100K championship.
Was it?
Yeah.
He's our historian.
They used to hold a 50-miler, then Chris Gibson, the race director, decided to host the national 100K championship. And so we went, each year he had that. But one year it was like 37, 38 degrees and cold and wind and rain. And we were both on the ropes. And then it was a 5-mile loop, and I came upon Chris, and I could tell she was not well. I think her stomach was bothering her. And then I was getting beat by a young stud out of Virginia who just took off on me and had 20 minutes to go on me. And I thought, I'm not going to catch him. But sure enough, the tables turned and we both overcame, and it was special.
Yeah, that's great.
So we had a quiet dinner out that night. just by
Well, and
ourselves.
on the drive, we drove from Wisconsin, and we oftentimes, when we would drive to races, we'd talk about the difference between driving home if we finish and can complete our goals versus if we didn't. That drive was a whole lot different coming home versus, whichever way it would go. And so it was a
Especially
nice
when
way
we go to
celebrate.
Europe, he said, I don't want a long plane ride home. Let's make it quick by doing well. And I think we usually try to do that. So
And I think some of our experiences and success was because we were what we refer to as team Setness. We would be actually crewing for each other, encouraging each other while we were out there, as I know do many other couples or friends, training buddies, and just the fact that we were married too was an
So, like,
additional.
you would crew, like, would you both run the race, or would one of you run, one crew, take turns?
a mix. So
Okay.
They were like that race in Pittsburgh. There's 2 races in Pittsburgh that we both ran, but we had other handlers. So we
Okay.
brought handlers with us.
Okay.
Or if it was in Europe, for the Worlds, we had handlers. But there were times when we would handle each other. And we clearly were the best. Like Chris handled me at Western States, and I handled her when she won Vermont twice.
You won Vermont twice. Wow.
Yeah.
What's that race like?
Oh, it's fabulous.
It looks
Just
gorgeous.
Fabulous. If
Long
anybody
history
isn't-
like Kettle as
Oh,
well.
and the hospitality and the trails are just gorgeous. The scenery, just amazing.
Yeah.
So, along with Kettle, those of you who are interested in doing another 100-mile, we certainly.
We'd recommend it. It's late
Yes.
July. They still do a
Yeah.
tremendous job.
Yeah.
Right in the center part of Vermont, Woodstock.
Yeah, it looks amazing. It's
is.
always been on my list. I tend to work too hard now and not train hard enough. So
It's still
100
part of the
miles
Grand
pretty
Slam,
far.
I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I
so
think
way
it-
back in the 80s and 90s, they had there weren't that many hundreds. There was like 4
Yeah.
or 5. So Vermont, Old Dominion in Virginia, I think Leadville and Western States, or maybe Angeles Crest, I'm not sure.
Have you done the Grand Slam of Ultras?
No.
Okay. Do you have a favorite ultra that you've done, or the hardest one?
Well, Ice Age is, it's so close to our home. I think it's both, I don't want to speak for her, but I think it's our favorite. And,
Yeah.
But I like, the Olander 24-hour was phenomenal back in the 90s. And
Yeah, you ran really a lot of miles there.
Yeah, it was a good memory. Maybe that's why I'm talking. It was a great venue. Tom Falvey did a tremendous job, and they brought in a lot of good runners.
And didn't you set a world record for your age group there?
Not world,
Or
but American world.
record, yeah.
Yes.
160.
160.4,
Yeah.
But I was pushed by Tom Posser, too, who was quite a well-known 24-hour type runner, 48-hour, and it was a battle, to say the least. But
How does that course work?
it was 1.1 mile loop around a urban, there was a lake, urban park
Okay.
in Sylvania, Ohio, which is a suburb of Toledo.
I really like timed events like that, I think, because the clock doesn't stop. So you have to keep going.
Yes.
Like
The
if you're
first and last person finished at the same time, and
Yeah.
you can sit down and rest if you want. You're probably not going to win,
Yeah.
but
Well, because it was a national championship, they couldn't have people running with them except
Okay.
those in the event. So, different type of rule, but I would say it was probably one of our best and worst days of our running marriage career. I think 23 hours, and Kevin's knee started buckling, and Tom Passert was gaining on him, and I just suggested that Kevin run a little bit more.
Yeah.
And he kind of gave me,
23 and a half.
he
She's telling
said
me this.
nothing, just kind of gave me
You're like
this.
150 some miles at this point.
It was something.
Anyway.
Oh, that's great. Have you done any of the timed events like that?
I do not like the loop. I've done loop 100Ks. I like going out because then I just have one way to come back. So
Yeah.
no, I haven't done that. And I've not done 24-hour runs. So I'm amazed at Kevin and anyone else who has done that mentally. To be able to go around and around and around is
Mentally challenging as well, specifically.
I think so, right?
Like seeing the same thing
Right.
over and over again.
Well, I did a couple of track 24-hour runs up in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, and so there you're running 500 laps. It's like that's harder. I'd rather be out on a 1.1 mile loop.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was thinking just about the Kettle Moraine Trail, or as far as like the course. And if you're an eagle, so then I was like, how did you come up with this course? I'm like, oh, I wonder if you just ran up north, and you're like, oh, let's come back. Oh, we still got to put some more in it. We'll run back down to Rice Lake and come back. Or did you have it? Was it a different course?
It was a different course. We started at Scuppernong, and they ran south to Emma Carlin. And then when they got down to Bluff Road, they did the loop of the Nordic. And then we cut over to the bike trail, which wasn't a bike trail then. Well, I guess it was back in the mid-'90s. That was 10 miles. And then down to the Whitewater Lake area where they turn around, where you'd still turn around.
Yeah.
And so that was 50 miles. And then they just retraced their steps all the way back. So it was purely an out and back when we started it. But logistically, our house was right in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I could grab supplies, water, whatever, and so we could support it fairly efficiently.
Do you have any funny stories from the first years of things that happened that you want to share? Because this is called The Dirt. So we're looking for the
We
dirt.
have a Rob Apple story.
Oh, I
know
love
Rob
Rob.
Apple?
Oh, yes. He's another
doesn't know
legend.
Rob?
He's a legend. I mean, he's a real legend in my mind because he's probably run 1,000 ultras.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
At least
he's
500.
amazing. I've just gone. He always finishes. So I'm just gonna follow him.
Yeah.
Yes, well, he
Kind
came
of
to
the Greek god of ultra running too.
Yeah, Chris adores him. Anyway, he came to the first Kettle Moraine, and he got lost, actually, in the John Muir bike trail section, somewhere between 30 and 35 miles. It was dark, And I don't know where I am at, but I get a call in my cell phone, and it actually worked. Because this is very primitive days of cell phones.
Yeah.
And I answer it, and I said, "This is the Walworth County Sheriff. Can you tell me where you are?" And I said, "Well, I think I'm somewhere in Eagle, but where are you?" He said, "Well, I'm down at the Nordic. Could you get down here as fast as possible?" And I thought, "Oh no, a runner's been killed or something."
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the biggest pressure on race day is making sure everybody's safe.
Yes. When you get a call from the sheriff,
Yeah.
And they're not telling you why.
Right.
Just
yeah,
get
and how
down
did
there.
you get my number?
Yeah.
So I drive down there, and as I'm approaching from a couple miles away, I see all these lights, flashing lights. It's like there must be like 10 to 20 fire and rescue vehicles with all their flashing lights. So I pull in there, and I find out what's happening, that a runner is lost. I said, "Well, that's not such a big deal. You'll find them." No, he's screaming to be helped. And so they go in on their ATVs, and they find Rob.
So he was yelling, and people could hear that he
Someone
was yelling.
that lived in a house
His lights didn't work.
some
and
ways
some
away.
farmer
Yeah.
heard him.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Rob Apple, as experienced as you could get,
Yeah.
without a light, getting lost, and then panicking. I don't know if he really panicked.
No.
Yeah. He did the smart thing.
Yeah, he hollered.
Yeah, I was
Did
gonna
he
say, he
fit?
found
Any
himself.
of us would,
He made
right?
a noise.
Let's hope we would.
So whenever we would see Rob after that, we would kind of, Rob.
And I
How
think
could
he
you?
was so apologetic. I felt worse for him because of how he felt about
He
it.
felt
but-
bad.
Yeah. Did he get to finish?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. He always Rob
He
always
does,
finishes.
right.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah, he's
So he
a,
got back on
Yeah.
course.
He's
and
a stud and a half.
Yeah.
He really is.
Much like you, Michelle, and I'm sure your group, I think one of the most rewarding things was when we actually were able to encourage some of the newer first-timers in the 100-mile or even in ultras to go on when they thought that they couldn't. So after we were blessed to have Timo and Jason and Ann take the race over, we were grateful that we would continue to do the Emma Carlin aid station for most of the years up until last. But that was
Until
so
last
cool
year, yeah.
because at that point, so many of them were coming through and just thinking that they couldn't go on. And so it was just really wonderful to be now not only race directors, but kind of crewing for all these people that didn't believe in themselves.
Yeah.
And to kind of take what we had gained and offer them some thoughts and suggestions about, okay, how about some electrolytes? How about, sitting down and I know.
I remember you guys gave me olives.
Olives.
And they were fantastic. Like that salt was
Yeah.
really helpful. After you come through the meadows, and
Yes.
you lose your salt. And
Yes.
I'm like,
Yeah.
olives, that's weird, but
Pickle
okay,
juice.
wow.
Concoctions, right.
We'd have runners, I wrote for Ultrarunning magazine for about 10 years, so I wrote like 120 columns. And every once in a while, somebody would come through and say, "Yeah, I remember you told me about this." And I barely remember writing
Yeah.
about this topic, but they said, "That helped me." And so it made me feel really good, too. And,
Yeah.
whatever we could do to help people finish. Yes.
So how many times did you run it before you became race director?
Well, I ran twice, and I DNF'd the 38-mile fun run
Okay.
once.
Yeah.
I showed up. I had a mentally stressful day, and I showed up and was just like, okay, I'll try. And at the turnaround, I saw my husband, and I just wanted to cuddle with my husband and not run anymore. so I stopped, and it was a tough day. But I mean,
Well, it's nice that you had that option.
yeah. So, yeah, I'm really glad that I got to run it, and I've paced quite a few times there. I've been there every year as long as I know.
Oh, okay.
It was actually the first trail race that I ever went to. I went by myself. And I'm like, oh, I'm just going to see what this is. I heard about this race, and Timo, I remember seeing him, and he's like, "Hi there," and I'm like, "Oh, you don't know me." And he was, and
He's Mr. Warmth and personality.
and he acted like he knew me, and
he's a tremendous host.
yeah. And then I'm watching, and I'm seeing parents with their kids, and I'm like, I need to figure out how to do this.
Yes.
So you guys started something really great.
No, we appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, the whole world of ultra running was about, to me, I was thinking on the way down, it's about the people you've met, the places you've been,
The friends we've made.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
incredible. And we've met some of the, like Ted Corbett, we met him in New York. He came to watch us run.
Yeah.
Don Ritchie, the great Scotsman.
Yeah.
Being able to run with him, or Giannis, he came to Orlander one year.
Okay.
The Greek
Yeah.
world record holder, and to be able to run with him for a few laps was just...
Well, they're telling the same story about coming and running
I'm
with
sure.
you guys. Well, they
sure.
really are. Well, you got the Ted Corbett award, Ultra Runner award, a few times.
Yes, for the male, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and it's the Ruth Anderson for the women, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, back 3 times, I think. Tom Johnson, I think, won it 4 times, and then I got it 3 times, yeah.
Yeah, and Carl Meltzer signed up for Kettle this year.
Is he?
Oh,
And he's
that's
won. I saw
exciting.
his name. Oh, yeah, I've got actually. I printed
Yeah,
it
he
out.
goes back. He's got
Wow.
quite the career.
Yeah.
I just
He's
wanted
Speed
to
goat.
share a
They call him
funny
Speed goat,
thing.
right?
The speed goat, yeah.
Goat. He was
He's
on
got his
the
whole line
wait
of shoes
list.
called the speed goat.
Yeah, he's...
So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And after the race filled up, I looked at the wait list and I'm like, Carl Meltzer. I think I can let him in.
Yeah. That's really nice.
Yeah.
We had Eric Clifton come,
Oh, wow.
and he had to run through the night because he started in the afternoon.
And I saw Hal Kerner
Hal
ran
Kerner
for you
ran
guys.
it, yeah.
He won when he
Yes.
barely. He was just a little bit ahead of the person in front of
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, we've had some good names come
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
So,
Kevin was so humble about this award, the Ted Corbett Award. I got home from work. It was a weeknight, and he was making dinner, and we were just catching up on the day, and probably had been home about 2.5 hours, and the phone rang, and it was one of his 2 brothers that doesn't call us very often, so I was a little concerned or wonder I said, what was that about? And, oh, well, I kind of was told I got an award today. And so he went on to tell me a little bit more about it, but quite an honor and quite humble about the whole experience. And then he went on to talk about why he thought he didn't deserve this.
I was really quite, taken back, but saddened immediately because I thought about some of my peers, like Eric Clifton or Tim Tweetmeyer. Ann Trayson will be eligible this year, so she'll be a lock. But, I thought about Ruth and Helen, who we got to stay with in Sacramento
Yeah.
once. And these were magnificent women, and they'd be in their 90s if they were alive.
Yeah.
And I know Ruth has the award named after her, but I just immediately thought of some of them. And then also it wasn't balanced. There was only 5 women.
Yeah.
And I told this committee of older white men, I said, you need some women on your committee, and we need to get more women in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And so I was a little bit angst about it. I don't know. They said, well, we really appreciate your opinion, Kevin.
That's great. I'm glad that you're,
Yeah.
I mean, how fantastic.
Now go drink a beer and enjoy it. And then Roy Perron contacted me. He said, just Kevin, why don't you just embrace it for a while?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting a feeling that you have a hard time and like you're doing something that you love.
Yeah.
But you don't need to be appreciated.
I don't need, yeah.
And so it's
Well-
I think you find it's feeling like you find it hard to let other people celebrate what you've.
Yeah, a little bit. And I don't know what the word would be to describe that feeling, but
Well,
it was genuine. And
it's very sweet.
I can tell you this, though, that the committee is going to be expanding because of the explosion of the sport.
Yeah.
And I think they'll be inducting more than one a year.
Oh, good. Is there
And-
something we can do to help?
I'll let you know. I'll try to find out.
Yeah. That's great. Well, we haven't talked about your running career really. And so like, I mean, I could spend like the next 10 minutes kind of going over all of this, but you know, I'll just say some of your best times. It's incredible. And I don't actually have yours. I'm sorry. But
Well, I know
if,
hers.
yeah, so I'm going to let you do it. But like your 50 mile, you did in 5 hours and 30 minutes. Your PR, 100K in 6 hours, 58 minutes.
And Chris's PR now for 100K was 7:56.
Wow.
So we did that on the same day. And we always had this little fun, we had a competition amongst ourselves. She gets 1 minute per mile.
Okay.
So if we go out for a 30-mile run, she gets a 30-minute head start. So in Sacramento that year, I run great, 6:58. I'm real happy. And she comes in 7:56. So she was 62 minutes.
So
Or
62.
62 minutes for 62 miles.
Or
And-
tie.
Well, kind of tight,
Yeah.
yes. Yes,
Second
exactly.
to Donna Perkins, who ran.
Yeah, she went out there too. So Wisconsin really stole the show out there. And,
That's fantastic. Yeah, Donna Perkins has the course
She's
record for
amazing.
kettle.
yeah.
Is she around?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see her
I would
once in a
love to
while.
meet her. Do you see her?
Not as often as we would like. Sometimes
We
would
probably
come
saw
out.
her a couple of years ago, but she's firefighter in Milwaukee area.
Oh, okay.
I think she's still working.
I noted her for an interview.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
I
great.
finished the Ice Age 50 and had beat her in that one. And
Wow.
my brother Dan was happy for me, but he said, "Oh my gosh, look at her pipes." He was more excited about
She was
her
built.
pipes on her arm. I said, "Oh, thanks, Dan."
Congrats on your race, but her pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's your 50-mile PR?
6:20.
6:20.
She did that twice as a split. in
And
New
which
York.
race was that at?
Well, she split that in New York City at the 100K, and then in Pittsburgh, when it was a 50 mile, she ran a 6:20. And I think I was 5:31, so she beat me by a minute on the handicap scale.
Okay. And what about hundreds? Have you done hundreds?
So trail hundreds, the
Yeah.
to Vermont, and
Oh, yeah,
my
that's
PR
right, yeah.
was 17:19.
Wow,
At
that's
Vermont.
incredible.
Yeah.
And then Kevin, do you remember your? I've got it, but
I'm a data junkie, so
I don't want to put anybody on the spot.
What's it, 100 mile?
Yeah, your 100-mile PR.
13:52,
And where was that at?
Sacramento.
Sacramento.
I think we went to Sacramento a few times. It's
Yeah.
a good. If the weather's good, you get competition, and then it's usually flat and fast.
Okay. So do you prefer flat? Well, you were a mutt, so you liked everything.
Well, I'm more
like.
of the road runner, flat and fast. Like Winschoten in the Netherlands is my favorite overseas course, and I've been there 6 times. And Chris has run well there. She's more of the trail
Okay.
runner star. I don't think I'm that good of a trail runner. I love it, but Chris is more of a natural. That's
Because
the
you
strength.
feel like you're dancing.
I'm dancing.
That's right.
Right.
So besides Ice Age Trail or Ice Age 50 and Kettle, did we go over what your favorite one is?
I also
I don't think we
love
got yours. We got
Glacial
some of yours.
Trail, which is the northern Kettle Moraine.
Yeah.
I really like that. But a lot of the feel is the same. And I'm not in a place that I can run anymore. So when I hear about all these other great trail runs, I feel a little sad that I didn't get the opportunity to go and experience some of those other great trails that are there. But we're out there hiking, so that's all good.
Yeah.
And can just find those trails in other ways, like Jen talked about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jen Collins from Trail Sisters. Yeah.
We did Sunmart, both of us, down at Huntsville State Park in Texas. A very competitive. Norm Klein brought a lot
Yeah.
of great runners in. Both of us ran that. Chris did very well, finished just behind Ann Trayson, if I remember right.
Oh.
And the trophy is so heavy that we couldn't take it on the plane. We had somebody in a van who was going back to Wisconsin. It's literally 80 pounds. to
8
horse.
pounds.
Wow.
It was a horse.
I don't know what Ann got for
like
first prize.
made out of some
Oh, like a
iron.
bronze horse or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's it's heavy.
So do you guys have like a whole room
A trophy
or like
room?
half of a house that's got all you? I've got this one shelf.
We have a shelf like that in our workout room.
Okay.
That's the TV that we just
Yeah.
Just
like
dust
to
them
see
off
that.
every once in a while.
Once
Just
a
gotta
year.
take them down.
when Kris tells you to dust them.
What's your most meaningful one?
Most meaningful.
Award that you've won, or trophy, or even if it was last place, or your most meaningful race.
Well, I took the World 100K in Holland in 2000. Yeah, so 20 years ago. No, I missed the American record by like 40 seconds. I had it the whole way.
Yeah.
And then in the last kilometer or two, my knee started going on me. Oh well,
Yeah.
but I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah, and Kris is, I don't know.
It's interesting because like I said, Kevin's more of our historian, and I tend not to be as aware of times and awards, but just the experiences and the people and the blessings that have come from
Yeah.
this sport. I think they've all been so meaningful, and that we could share it together. That
There is a funny story in Vermont, which again we both love, but I was going to pace her the last 30 miles, and her closest competitor was right on her butt the whole way, and at 70 miles, they're real chatty, too chatty for my comfort.
we're becoming friends out there.
Kris is a therapist by trade, so she's a professional listener, and I'm watching this go on, and I'm said, we got to do something about this. So at 70 miles, I jump in and I get real close to Kris. I said, Kris, these are not your friends. And we need to get out of here. So let's go down this slope and gap these people because they want to win.
Yeah.
And it was pretty stern talk. And so she ended up winning. But then when it got dark, I told her to turn off your flashlight because I think they're right behind you, Kris. And that's what people do. They turn off their lights. Ann Trayson does it at Western. And I don't know. It was one of those things. You'll get used to the darkness. And anyway, that was...
For about 4 miles, I think. I ran
Yeah, she had
with
about 4 or 5 miles in the dark at the end, but it's back into the forest, so it's dark.
That is amazing. I love that story.
Well, we've got a lot of good memories, and that's what, like she says, I think it's the memories, the people, the places, not the tin on the shelf, which we appreciate and all that. So
Well, I mean, you're setting goals. You're trying to be your own personal best. It's not like you're trying to beat people. You're trying to be, you're trying to be better and make friends along the way.
yeah. Brian Hacker, I was telling her on the way down, but she remembers him. He was from Indiana, and he beat me in New York at the 100K by a few minutes, and then we were out in Sacramento where we both personal best. And he caught me at 58 miles, and we went through 50 miles about 5:30 again. But then at 58 miles, he came up to me, and we knew that we had a chance to go sub 7. And so he went by me. He said, Kevin, we're going under. We're going under. And he just kept saying, we're going under. I said, I know, Brian. We got to get under. and he pointed to his rear end. He says, I want you right here. And he was yelling at me for about the next 2 miles, and I hung with him. And then he did pull away, beat me by like 2 minutes, but we did both go under.
Yeah. Oh.
And so we gave a big hug to each other at the end because it was our first time going under together.
Amazing.
And so those things stick out.
Yeah.
It is exciting, though, to see how you've evolved the T-shirts and the awards and all the art that you're bringing into it. And it was nice once we moved the Kettle Moraine, or we're grateful that Timo and Jason took it over, to see how they evolved, the shirts and the T-shirts and everything. It's just fun to see that the fresh blood has new ideas, has new ways of doing things, and brings in things that runners love, and that's really exciting. I do have to say, going to the Emma Carlin Trail this year to the aid station, we went to support the group there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who all it was, but I got a kick out of seeing this as the first thing on the aid station, Fireball.
We did not
Cinnamon
offer that,
whiskey. And I just was laughing, and they said, "Oh yeah," it was like 9 a.m. We've had a lot of people come through.
It's like
and-
brushing your teeth. Right?
I don't understand it, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely a thing. It's like
Yeah, I don't.
that was interesting. Yeah, and their music was wonderful, inspiring, but different than what we had brought, and so it's just really fun to see that different thoughts and ideas can come in and bring a freshness and
Yeah.
uniqueness.
Yeah, we're amazed. Really, I mean, some people would sit back and say, "That's not the way we did it," but we're just like sitting there in awe that wow. And we said that to Jason and Timo last year too. Isn't it amazing what they're doing? And yeah, we're just like blown away by it.
Yeah. Well, I as the race director, I really appreciate that. And like you had came to me and when we met on the trail that one day, and you said, "Oh, you should take a look over by Emma Carlin. There's some other trails
McMiller,
that are
yeah.
nice."
And voila.
And then DNR actually suggested that we don't go through Emma Carlin because the parking wasn't so
Right.
good before the race, actually. And they said, "Why don't you go through McMiller?" And I'm like, "Well, the people that started the race told me that was okay, so I didn't feel bad about making, because I don't want, it's a lot of pressure on me. I don't want to make any changes. It's
a great
such a
trail
historic race, but I think it'll be interesting." And I knew that I had your blessing, so
Oh,
that
yeah, for
was
sure.
really good. And then I think it's important for people to know about you guys coming up and giving me that heart-shaped rock.
That's pretty
And you said it was from your heart to mine, and
Right.
wished us luck on the race. And I carried the rock with me in my purse and I pull it out and look at it every once in a while. And we'd taken a picture on the trail, and I ended up framing it, and I glued it under the picture, and it's right by my office.
That's great.
So I thank you guys every time I go in there. So
Yeah, we don't look for those rocks. They kind of jump out at us.
yeah.
We don't give too many away. So she gave you that. That means a lot.
Yeah, it means a lot to me, and thank you. You guys are absolute class in this sport,
I
and
appreciate that.
and I'm just so grateful to have you guys here, and thank you for all that you've done for the sport.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Yeah.
for carrying it on.
I'm sure we'll see you on the
out
trail,
there.
but we'll be walking.
Yes,
when
we
we get
will,
there.
yeah.
And if you need help, let us know.
Okay.
You've got it covered, but-
we have an idea. I'll have you talk
Uh-oh.
to Steve because we were wanting to. Well, the runners would probably like to know this. We would like to introduce you guys at the start of the race because I think that it's the 25-year anniversary, and I think it's important for everybody to know where everything started. So
Along with Timo and
Yeah, with
Jason.
Timo and Jason. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
that'd be great.
okay, well, good. Well, thank you. That's a date then.
To date.
So I'm getting waved that we're over time.
Oh, sorry.
So,
Okay. All right.
but I feel like you're some of the biggest guests we've had. Don't listen to anybody else that we've had before.
Well, thank you.
We're grateful.
yeah, thank you.
We also live not far away, a nice drive. So thank you.
Yeah. So you'll have to come out for one of the Trail
I
Sister
think
stuff too. Yeah. And thank you to our listeners for listening, and come visit us at the Trailhead and follow us on all of our social media.